Hello, hello. This song, Lecha Adonai, is a song that is sung usually when in Shabbat service and high holidays, when you walk with the Sefer Torah, with the Bible, around the congregation. And in case you're wondering, no, it was not written by Bachman. No, it was written by Lewandowski, who is a contemporary, just about, of Bachman. He was writing and conducting in Berlin, where Bachman was in Odessa. Now, Lewandowski's music is famous all over the world, is still sung to this day, and Bachman is nowhere to be heard except tonight. As far as I know, anyhow, I've never heard of him. I don't know anybody else who has. And you might ask why. Why is Lewandowski so famous and Bachman no? And the answer is probably twofold. First one, maybe Bachman is not as good as Lewandowski. And the second, what I'm sure occurred to you as well, Bachman was in Odessa and Lewandowski was in Berlin. So that it's probably a little bit of both. Now, both of them were very classically trained, and there's a little something about Mendelssohn that connects the two of them. Mendelssohn was the person who brought Lewandowski into the conservatoire, the music school in Berlin that never took a Jew before. He was the first Jew there. Mendelssohn died when Bachman was a year old. So we can assume that the two of them, Lewandowski and Bachman, were influenced by everything that came before in the classical world, because they were all classic, and Bachman, Western classical music is what influenced him. So you can hear, and I'll point some out to you, you can hear some Bach, some Mozart in their music. The pieces that I chose today from Bachman I think are great, but I've been through the whole book, and some of the pieces are not. So I think because he was so full of the classical world that he came from, he was a very famous singer, tenor, and performed with Anton Rubinstein, had apparently the most amazing range from the deepest bass to the highest voices of a tenor. But he gave it all up to become a chazan, and worked in the synagogue in Odessa, where he founded this choir. And what happens to most people who work, certainly with synagogue choirs, but maybe all choirs, is that eventually they start writing music for that choir. I have to admit to that scene as well, which you'll hear in a minute. So, what we're going to do today is I'm going to do a little bit of a comparison. We will sing the same text in the form that we sing nowadays in our synagogue and many other Reform synagogues sing. And then I'll compare it to the same text written by Bachman. Just now that you had a look at the book, you might understand that reading the Hebrew, the handwritten Hebrew, is enormously difficult. I would say almost impossible. And like I said to Sheva a minute ago, if I got this 20 years ago, I wouldn't have known what to do with it. But I've now been working with the Menorah Synagogue for 17 years, and I know all the texts. So I could make up. But now those of you who read music might understand if I tell you that the key signature is written in the first line and never again. So you have to try and remember what key you were in, whatever he does in the middle. Same with the time signature. And there are other things that we don't do nowadays, but I won't bore you with them. It was difficult to get them, but I hope we're doing it justice. So the first song that we will sing is actually the Menorah version, a very short song, of a song called Hodo al Eretz, which means his glory is on the earth.
Yeah.
nice and short and to the point. So you will see as we go on that most of the stuff we do nowadays, most, not all of it, takes the prayer, puts music on it without any repetition. Now, the word hallelujah repeated twice there, but that's it. I assume, because the services are very long anyhow, and I don't want the music to make them longer still. Obviously, both Lewandowski and Bachmann didn't have such problems. They wrote as long as they wanted. So we're now going to sing the same text by Bachmann, and you will see how he plays around with the Hallelujah, which is a little bit, for those who are familiar with, a little bit like Bach, Mozart, that sort of thing. That thing had been sung in public, and that's very exciting, isn't it? You saw how many times the hallelujahs were coming. No problem with the timing of the service, although I don't know if you noticed that the hallelujah, hallelujah of the soprano and alto mostly are very difficult, sort of coloratura type. You get no chance to take a breath. That's very much taken from the classical style. Bach, Handel, Mozart as well. The second one, which again we will sing the version that we sing in, can you hear me? No need for the microphone?
No.
We'll again sing the version that we do at Menorah nowadays, Imloch Adonai Leolam, which means the Lord will reign forever and ever. Very short. For what it is. Now you will hear the Imloch of Bachmann. I think it's beautiful. It's not a lot, there's not much you can do with such few words. So it's not much longer, it is longer, but I think it's more exciting, possibly. We will do the Bachmann first. There's a reason for it. And the song is called Hashivenu. Please return us, Lord, and we will come back. Renew our days as of old. So again, the renew our days of old are repeated quite a few times. Shame. Now, that one was different in other ways. Usually, particularly synagogue songs, are sung in 4 beats. So, I'll give you an example. For instance, Havan Magilla, in 4 beats in the bar is the usual thing. Sometimes you get a 3, which is more like a waltz. Here is a very difficult time, which is called 6/8. You still conduct it in 1, 2, 1, 2, but you fit 3 on each one. So, I'll ask them now to sing just the second half again, so you can see what I'm talking about. Can you just start on? Go. So I hope you spotted that. Another thing which is usually done in Jewish songs, all of the word, on the whole, it's not a complete rule, but it's very often happening that Jewish songs are written in the minor chord, mostly. Even the happy ones, like a minor chord. You think it's very happy. Or you would swear it was a major one because it's very happy. But no, it's in a minor. And I'm fond of saying that even the happiest Jewish songs have a little bit of oy vey in them. However, both and Lewandowski tend to, again, it's not a rule, tend to write everything in the major. That must be what they get from the classical music. And a point, talking about minor Jewish song, the next one that we will sing to you does include the text of Hashivenu, which we just sang, Hashivenu Elecha. But it starts with Eitz Chaim. It's from Proverb, by the way. Eitz Chaim hi, lamachazikim ba. The tree of life, if you hold on and support it, will make you happy, and so on. The Eitz Chaim is a very well-known Jewish symbol, and it usually symbolizes either the synagogue or prayers or the Torah. I adore this song. So does the choir. It is in a minor. It is what we sing nowadays. It is in a minor, and I think it's absolutely heartbreaking. So see what you think about it.
Yeah.
So, this was what I call a Jewish song. Do you agree? Absolutely heartbreaking, I think. We've changed a lot of songs in our services, but I've told the choir from the beginning, this one stays. Whatever happens, this one stays. Right. And now we are into another very Jewish song, not Bachman. Shema Koleinu. Hear our voice, the Lord. Shema Koleinu. Chus verachem aleinu. Have mercy on us. We sing that on Yom Kippur. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And you will see, on the whole, I prefer this type of song. This song, particularly when you hear the tenors crying out there, that it cries for all the generations of Jewish people that have been suffering. It's just a priceless song, I think. And I have to thank Elaine for bringing it to our choir. Right, I've already told you that all people who do choirs eventually are tempted to write songs themselves. And the next one is one I've written. And I'm afraid it's in a major, and it's Oseh Shalom. He who makes peace in the heavens will make peace on us and on the whole of Israel and all the world. Now, I always say to my choir that I know I've written quite a few songs for them, and I know perfectly well that most of the songs I've written will disappear with me. When I go, they'll be gone. And I'd be lucky if one or two of them remain in the history of Menorah. This next song, I think, will be the one that they will remember me by. Do you think?
Yes.
play the piano and sometimes no. In the services, we do practically everything, 99%, without accompaniment. But I feel that when there is a solo, it's nicer for them when there is an accompaniment, so that's why. Right, yeah. We're coming back to Lewandowski, one of his most beautiful pieces, Hallelujah. Nothing more to say. Why am I playing the piano? It's a secret between me and them. Answers, the questions and the answers that are moving from one voice to the other. Very typical. Right. Another one of my sins. This is a song I've written for the score ceremony of Yom Kippur. Now, actually, the second half of it, I wrote years ago for the children of North Cheshire Choir that I used to work with. And then when I joined Menorah and I realized they're doing it, the whole text, in the score ceremony, I wrote the beginning as well. I wrote it. It's, first of all, tell you what the song is. It's what you know very well as the Lord is my shepherd. Adonai ro'i. And the second part is Gam ki elech begates al mavet, which is, yea, though I walk through this valley of shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Now, I wrote the solo in the beginning of this song for a little girl who was 12 in my choir then. She's now doing PhD and couldn't come and sing it for us. And instead of her, would you believe, her mother is going to sing the song. Belinda. Shana Yom Kippur, in Hebrew are called Yamim Noraim, which in translation, there isn't exactly the right translation, are awful days, days of awe, scary days. And this prayer absolutely is the worst of them all. For anybody who knows, the biggest prayer for Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah is Unotanei Tokev. And this one is taken from it in the middle, and it's called Kevakarat. And what it says, which is so horrific, is the same way as the shepherd checks his flock and puts the good one on one side to live, and the bad one are going for slaughter, that's how the Lord judges us on Judgment Day. Awful? Absolutely awful. And this is, the song is beautiful and awful at the same time. You can see him up there. Peter's going to sing the song. Atmosphere of this song. Our Bible can sometimes be very cruel. Right. And we're still in Yom Kippur, and as you'll see in a minute, the angel up there we swore. And this comes from as we're coming near the end, from the Ne'ilah service of Yom Kippur. Ne'ilah means to lock. It's the locking of Yom Kippur. And in this one, Ptach Lanu Sha'ar there are many explanations for this song, and I've looked at quite a few of them, and in the end chose the one that our old Rabbi Chaim gave me. The words are, open the gate for us at the time that the gates are closing. Kind of doesn't make sense. And the explanation that I like is, at the time that the judgment gates are closing, please open the mercy gate. And this song is another heartbreaker, I think, absolutely. And you will see that she sings and we answer. She sings and we answer. And in the end, and where is the pink thing that I just put even fell on the floor? Because there's something very typical of the Bible, particularly in the right songs, piyutim. There are so many synonyms in the Hebrew language, and the Bible is absolute genius. It's saying exactly the same thing 3 or 4 times with different words, and it's beautiful. So the end of the song you will hear is begging, please, please forgive us. How many words we got in English to say? Forgive us, forgive us, forgive us. Here are the words that we're using in the song. Rachemna, kaperna, chamolna, michalna, slachna, sana. Every word you can find in the dictionary to please convince the Lord to have mercy on us. The next song is also from Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah. It is Ihiyul Ratzon. May the thought of our heart be and the sadness of my thoughts be offered in front of you. This is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song that was written by one called Warburg, if I'm pronouncing it right. And when I checked him out, he was from Ukraine, actually, born in Hungary, in a place that later became Ukraine, but moved to America and did most of his writing, modern writing, in America. In fact, I'm going to look at more of his writings. I think he is absolutely exceptional. And this is the fairly modern, the harmonies are quite modern. And now, we're really at the end. We're going to give you, well, the prayer that usually finishes Shabbat service and some others is Adon Olam. Adon Olam is the master of the world who was there before any other creature was created and will be there at the end when we are all gone. That's basically the idea of Adon Olam. I can't tell you how many tunes there are to this song. When I talk to you about 4 beats, that's typical for the Jewish, it's in 4 beats, and practically every tune you know in 4 beats would fit. So we have about 9 different Adon Olams that we sing, according to what people ask. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing all of them to you. We're going to do 2. So the first one is based on a beautiful Scottish old tune, which Menorah, can you move a minute so you can see Menorah, who will also sing the solo. She comes from Scotland, and she grew up on that tune and suggested it to us. And I've fallen in love with it, and not just me, I think. Beautiful, so I arranged it for the choir, and we start with the solo. So Adon Olam, we call it Scottish Adon Olam. Where's that coming? last song, I would like to thank Sophie Garside, who got me together with Stefania. It was such a fascinating project, so thank you, and thank you, Stefania. Maybe we'll work again one day. The last song is Adon Olam. It's a much different one, it's a much more lively, it's an Israeli one, written by an Israeli fellow called Tritman, and I allowed myself to do crazy things with the arrangement. And normally, I play it sitting down. This is most uncomfortable. Anyhow, Adon Olam, thank you for coming.
would just like to briefly thank you all for coming tonight. And I would like to thank the staff at the Rylands for helping us tonight, and especially Gemma, who is hiding, for the practical organization of the event. I would like to thank the AV and filming team and the curators at the Rylands, and especially Elizabeth, who you met earlier with the manuscript, that allows me always to look at the weirdest things in the collection. And I would like to thank again Sophie for putting us in contact, Sophie Carside. And finally, I would like to thank the Center for Jewish Studies with its directors, Alex, Daniel, and Jean-Marc, and Laura, for the financial and intellectual support of the project and of this event. And once again, thank you for the beautiful performance. So please join me.